Hi there folks, my name's Novawing24 and welcome to a first look at a new feature that's been added to Flight Sim World as part of a open beta to the simulation community. And of course I'm talking about the recently announced career mode. So we're going to get started today. We're going to have a quick look at it. We're going to show you how to actually set it up into your sim. We're going to show you a couple of flights in it, what it looks like in the sim, and of course answer a couple of questions that have been popping up on a couple of the forums such as what happened to the rest of my core sim. So first of all, let's get started with how do you actually activate. Now, as I said, this is a free open beta to everybody who owns Flight Sim World. So the first thing, of course, is to how to actually activate that. So if you've probably seen the email or the post over at FS Elite, but in case you haven't, I'll put the code in the description down below. First thing, of course, is you need to go to your Steam library, and you need to then right-click on your Flight Sim World entry, go into where it says properties, and let's just jump on the other screen for a minute. Let's bring that across here. There we go. Jump across to the betas tab, and then from here you'll have an option here where it says enter a beta access code to unlock private betas. So once you do there is you as I said, pop your code in. As I said, I will pop it in the link in the description down below for you to copy in, but it is DFSW in capitals, lowercase p, capital A, lowercase r, capital T for tester, and then 18. Then click on check code. That will then give you access to, when then you drop down here, you'll be able to switch to beta upcoming feature preview. So to be able to do that, you then simply click on this one. That will then trigger a queue of an update. As you can see, it's just updated here. That will then download to a small update. It's about 40 megabytes, but essentially it's just the exe updating. It's updating a couple of files there and allow us then to access the features. So that's just going to quickly download for us. And then we're going to jump into Flight Sim World and we're going to have a look at it now. Alrighty, so here we are with how it looks once you've activated your beta and it's done the updates. When you fire up Flight Sim World, you'll notice that everything kind of looks the same but a little different. Obviously you've got the big thing in the center here that says beta test career mode, but you've noticed across the top here all the things that we're used to doing. So things like your missions, your flight school, your free flight, and your multiplayer, they're all no longer, they're all grayed out. You can't actually access them anymore. The only thing you can access is the career mode. And now it's two sides of things that I think about with this. Is that one, it's a little frustrating because yes, we can't actually, it looks like, it ostensibly looks like you can't actually do all the stuff that you want to do in the flight sim, other than just test the career mode. But I also get it from a testing procedure because it allows them to actually isolate it, so you're only actually testing the actual content that's in beta testing is kind of the point. So I kind of get it. Now, of course, one of the things is a lot of people are going, but I don't want to just to test career mode. I want to do all the things that I'm used to doing, particularly with the fact that they've just released another mission pack. Now, that's okay, because what you can do is that simply following the same steps that we just saw before to activate the beta test, you can then switch it back to none. So as you go to the right click on the Flight Sim World, go to the betas tab, go to properties, go to the beta tab, and then go to none. Now all it'll do is it'll update the exe file again. But your actual career, though, your career company, which we're about to create, that will remain there. So you can flick and swap them, so you can swap between the two. There's no problem at all. It just simply updates the exe file, and you're good to go again. And then simply, as I said, once you've opted out, you can fire up Flight Sim World again and access all the features that you used to. Then when you want to go back and do a bit more testing in career mode, simply opt back into the beta, and you don't have to put the code in next time. You just simply Dropbox and off you go. So there you go. So just rest assured to everybody, you can still enjoy all the joys and all the fun things that are to do in Flight Sim World. You don't have to be stuck in just the career mode, but you can swap between the two, which is kind of cool. Alright, okay, so that's that sort of community service announcement, that public service announcement out of the way. Now, of course, what is career mode? So, as I said, it's a new mode, something that is very intriguing to me. Like, I've always liked flight simulation because I like that it's open world. We can do what we want in it. But every now and again, it is kind of cool of being able to, mission packs are great because you get to use something to do, tasks to complete, and things like that. Air Hauler and Air Hauler 2, of course, is possibly the best representation of how to actually sort of do, and of course virtual airlines as well, where you can actually sort of build a career and gives you almost a sense of purpose in your flight sim if you do want to do that. Like, you don't have to do it all the time, but it's something nice to do every now and again. A fellow YouTuber and flight simulation enthusiast, Laserbolt, dear friend of mine. He is from the MS Flights 3. He runs a series of a very regular series of around the world flights in the venerable C-130. And that all stemmed from air hauler, and I remember talking to him once because he was the one who got me into air hauler. And I was asking him, why do you do it? And he said, well, it allows him to actually go and visit parts of the world that he never would have ever considered flying to, because it's sort of the randomly generates missions. And that's one of the great things about things like this career mode, I believe, is that it's going to give us a chance to actually explore and go places. But enough on to why I think it's a great thing. Let's have a quick look at how to actually sign it up. So as I said, once you're done here, we jump onto the little pen and paper up here, career mode beta. So we'll check into that. Alright, so this is the basic thing at the moment. So you start off and essentially we're creating a business. We're going to do, for now, it's just about local jobs around your starting airport. We sort of go through there, we pick the to do. It'll give you some ideas of what you're actually going to be doing during the flight. Now, it will always be a cold and dark start, and you will be required to shut down the engine. It doesn't look like you have to go through the full shutdown checklist, but you do have to shut down the engines at the very least, and then you'll go through and get some money and stuff like that. But to get started, let's get started with a business. So once you sort of got the introduction sort of tips and what it's going to be about here, click on the next. You then get a chance to actually choose your company. So we're going to call this one here, we're going to call this Nova Express. Hint, that is also my Air Hauler and Air Hauler 2 company name. And it gives you a chance so you can choose whether you're male or female, and then you can go through and choose where you would like your headquarters to be. So I'm going to have my headquarters here in Australia. We're going to go on to create company. Now what it will do initially is that it'll sort of go through the initial, much like for those who may have seen my initial introduction to Flight Sim World, it'll do sort of pick out the capital or a well-known city of that country. And by the way, folks, Sydney is not the capital of Australia. Just FYI, Canberra is the capital of Australia. Everybody seems to think it's Sydney, but it's not. Anyway, but what you can do is you can either choose the default, or you can actually choose to look for your own. Now, for example, Brisbane International is my my personal one. Now, here's an interesting little tidbit of this of the career mode in the beta at the moment, is that you will not be able to select a home base if there are not 3 fairly major airports within 100 nautical mile range of your home base that you're starting with. Now, unfortunately, in terms of modeled in Flight Sim World and the ESP sort of in the ESP engine, there is only 2 airfields that are modeled in my area, even though there are several others. Only 2 are, which is Redcliffe, so Yankee Romeo Echo Delta, and Archerfield, so Yankee Bravo Alpha Foxtrot. So unfortunately, I am not able to use my home airport because it wouldn't be able to do all things that the sim needs to do. Instead, we're going to go to another city, which is going to be very important to me very shortly, because I'll be going my first half Ironman there, is that we are going to go to Port Macquarie, if I can spell. There it is, YPMQ. And we are going to select this as our starting location. Now, yeah, interesting enough, occasionally the map does freak out a little bit from there, and then we can go, that's it, all good, and we can go confirm. Alright, and there we go, we get simply started with the airfield right now. So we've got our sort of airfields all around here. I have noticed something, that with this beta version, the maps that Flight Sim World use, they're not loading as well as they do in the normal Flight Sim World. It potentially maybe it might be the beta Australian internet, but yeah, it's very interesting that it is not loading all the maps very well at the moment, so we shall see. Hopefully that's just a bug at the moment. Otherwise, as I said, this is pretty much how it looks when you get loaded in. So you get repositioning. These are types of jobs that you'll get, and as I said initially, it'll just be for your home airfield or the front desk of your office. and it will go from there. Now, these other tabs at the moment, so the My Fleet, the aircraft market and business opportunities, they're still grayed out, so they're not in play yet. It's just the job board of your home airport is the only one there, and then you get a flight planner thing once you actually choose things. So, for example, we've got an example one here of an immediate repositioning requirement. We'll give you the flight planner. We'll show you that kind of stuff. It'll give you dynamic weather. It'll tell you where you're going and things like that. But what we're going to do is that I'm going to reload, because I have been doing a couple of missions just to test here. Actually, for those who ever play, yes, as I said, we're going to load up I've already backed up and already done a few flights in Nova Express. So we're going to load this that save in. By the way, this save for that, your career save, is saved simply in your in the app data folder for Flight Sim World under career.json. So there you go, that's where it's kept if you ever need to get back up. So I'm going to reload the one that I've already been flying with for a little bit. This is when I was doing my testing. I'm going to load that one up, and we're going to have a look at some of these jobs, and we're going to maybe we'll fly a quick job and see what it's like. So here we are back into Flight Sim World, and of course back here at the career screen. So this is pretty much what you get presented to you. And as I was saying before, it's still I think it is a bug. I don't know whether it's just me, but it's something that I'm noticing pretty much all the time when I'm in this in testing the career mode. The map in the background doesn't seem to load properly, which can be a bit of a challenge for some navigational data later on. Anyway, so what is it that you get here? So you essentially get a couple of options. You get at the moment you're getting 3 different jobs that are available to you and presented to you, and this is actually really good because this gives you a good sample of what some of the ones that I've seen. So you got a basic cargo transport one, where you sort of take some cargo from your base to another airport. Aircraft repositioning, where you could be given pretty much anything from the default range of aircraft and be able to reposition. Cost sharing, sort of like an air taxi hamburger run kind of service, where you actually sort of you fly to somebody else to another airport. I've also seen other things as well, with like the sort of like urgent repositioning required. Now, it doesn't seem to have that. That sounds like it's going to have a timer element into it in the future. But there you go. One of the other things that I notice here as well is that you notice here that this one in particular says a basic hours pilot welcome to move the Piper PA-18A. Now that's interesting because in other jobs that I've seen, it sort of said light aircraft pilot required, or private pilot required. So my guess is that they're actually going to be linking some of these jobs to your actual qualifications and the certifications of the license types and the endorsements that you get as part of the training inside of Flight Sim World, which is kind of an interesting way of structuring it, and kind of cool to sort of connecting all the dots together. It's kind of cool, that one. So yeah, it's not implemented at the moment, but I'm guessing it's going to be something that the final product was probably going to have. But anyway, in the meantime, we're going to take on this one here, a cost sharing flight to Armadale. We're going to take this one on today. So this is going to be in looks like and it'll assign us the PA-18. So this is going to be this could be quite a long flight actually. So it gives you some basic information. As I said, this is where the lack of that moving map display sort of loading behind can be a bit frustrating. But we do know that it is going to be 84 nautical miles, heading at 297. So it looks like it's going to be. This looks like this is going to be a long flight. So we'll go from there. Also, it does give you dynamic weather. So it takes a snapshot of the weather at the moment, and then sort of that's that dynamic weather thing that they introduced a couple of updates ago. They'll build that as we go along. In terms of configurations, you can alter like fuel and payload if you so choose, but your failures, deliveries, and anything like that are not there. So that's all linked to the actual mission itself. So there you go. Alright, let's get ourselves underway, shall we? Alright, so we're going to get started here. This is going to be an interesting one, so definitely going to be old seat of the pants navigation, this one. Alright, so the initial career flight sort of load screen is pretty much what we've sort of come to expect from Flight Sim World. Come in, you're there in the system, yep, all good. Sort of just pause looking around as we sort of my track our trucks around. Alright, so we click on the start. Now, as I said before, as we saw earlier, it was a case of that all of your flights do come in as cold and dark. So you are expected to go through the cold and dark start procedures for all of your flights in career mode. Now, something a little bit interesting here. I haven't noticed this before, but there's a GoPro. There's actually now added on the Piper model here. But something that's a little bit interesting is the fact that previously there's been some shift pop-ups available for the aircraft, but it seems that they have been removed from the basic aircraft, at least in this update. So. And this beta test, so I'm not sure how I feel about that, considering that there's no sort of that means that you've got no moving map display, which part of me sort of goes, okay, well, there's no moving map actually in a Piper Cubs cockpit, that's fine, but then again, pilots all have iPads and phones these days which have GPS in it, so it's kind of like there you go, and there's no sort of map that you can refer to, especially considering that as I said, at the moment there seems to be that bug where at least for me anyway, the map is not appearing. So there you go. The other interesting thing about the beta at the moment is that it does give people access to an AccuFuel setup screen again, as we did in the one of the very early releases of Flight Sim World. So you can mess with that if you so desire. Anyway, enough of me waffling on. Let me just check my what was the course that we're going on. We're going on 297. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, and of course I don't have a heading bug to set, that's a little bit annoying, but anyway, alright, well, this is definitely going to be a seat of the pants fly, this is. Alright, let's get ourselves underway with the, getting everything set up here today. Alright, now I don't remember where everything is. It's been a while since I've done a cold and dark start on the Cub. Alright, now if I remember correctly, my track IR's having a moment today. What's my track IR doing? Okay. Battery on. Okay, mixture full rich, carburetor heat off. 4 strokes of the engine prime. 3, 4. Okay, throttle up to 10%. Left magneto on. Starter button first. Contact. Okay, right magneto on. Throttle up. Excellent. And avionics on. Alright, cold and dark checklist complete. Now we're heading out to Armadale today, so it's going to be an interesting long flight today. Alright. Now, you don't have to use ATC services if you don't wish to. You don't have to worry about that if you don't want to. It's completely up to you because it's not a requirement. But yeah, it's going to be interesting if you do want to do it. But I am going to listen to the weather, see if there's anything interesting going on with the weather here.
Automated weather observation 0139 Zulu. Wind calm, visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky conditions, few clouds at 5,700. Temperature 15 Celsius.
Alright, so that looks like there's nothing really going on too much with the weather. Alright, let's brakes off. Let's taxi out. Taxi along past this other Cub patiently waiting for its departure. So one of the, as I said, I'm kind of enjoying this career mode because it's giving you a chance to actually sort of, fly aircraft that you may not normally fly, and more importantly, probably fly to airports that you may not normally have flown to. I'm going to do a midfield departure, I think here. I think the short takeoff Cub should be able to handle that, I think. I am enjoying it because I like the idea of, just say, exploring airports that you wouldn't necessarily go to. Um, it's one of the cool things about sort of this, because it's very interesting, because simulation simulation really is everything you want it to be. It can be whatever you want it to be, really, and that's one of the beautiful things about it. Our departure going here. Just check in with Brisbane Centre.
Brisbane Centre, Piper, November 158, Foxtrot, Juliet is type Piper, Super Cub, 1 miles southwest of Yankee, Papa, Mike, Quebec. Request flight following.
Piper, November 158, Foxtrot, Juliet, Brisbane Centre, Squawk 0435.
Squawk 0435, Piper 8, Foxtrot, Juliet.
Piper 8, Foxtrot, Juliet, radar contact 2 miles southwest of Yankee, Papa, Mike, Quebec, 200, QNH 1013.
Copy. Piper 8, Foxtrot, Juliet.
Alright, now we've got that little formality out of the way. So yeah, as I said, it's really kind of interesting sort of doing this as we sort of come up to our cruising altitude here. It's simulation. The simulation genre that we all enjoy is very interesting in the fact that it really can be whatever we want it to be. We can fly what we want, where we want, and it's pretty cool. But sometimes we get sort of stuck in sort of doing the same things familiar to us, and that's why it's been popular doing things like, mission packs have always been popular, and indeed, products like Air Hauler have been so successful simply because of the fact that they actually sort of offer this chance to actually sort of go and explore new places. In fact, a fellow YouTuber and a very dear friend of mine, Laserbolt, he's a member of MSFlights.net, and he's been running a long-running, very regular series of flights on Thursday nights, US Eastern, involving the venerable C-130 or any cargo prop aircraft, where he explores the world, and that series all started based on Air Hauler, and he was just going to do various different jobs he would go to in it, and actually go and explore different places around the world and visit all these airports that you would never even think. There's like 25,000. I think it's 25,000 airports in the ESP platforms globally, and it's just like, who would actually think to go to some of them? You wouldn't even think of them, but yet they're all there. And career modes like this, and previous add-ons like Air Hauler, and even virtual airlines give you a reason to go to these places that you never normally would do. So that's why I think it's really, really important that we support things like this, and that's why I like seeing it. When I saw this career mode was going to be offered, I thought that was really, really cool, and actually pretty awesome that it was actually going to be built in and offered as part of the actual core sim. I think that's a really, really cool thing. So I'm really excited by it, and as I said, I'm liking the basics of it so far. I was sort of just drifting off course there a little bit. This is going to be a challenge, but yeah, as I said, that's kind of cool, kind of interesting, and I like the fact that this is actually been integrated as part of the actual core sim, because I think it's a great opportunity, a great way to find ways to explore and go to different parts of the sim, because this is the whole world is modeled, so let's go and explore different airports you wouldn't normally do. I mean, even this, I've only been mucking around in this video for a day or so, and I've done a lot of flying in in Australia, in the real world, and in the virtual world, in in FSX, in Prepared, in Flight Sim World, and X-Plane 11. I'd never actually flown to Taree before. I never have. I just never had a reason to, and now I've flown there a couple of times, because of this. So I like the fact that we're getting to explore different places and different airports and stuff like that. So it's a really cool. As I said, I like stuff like this. I really do. Couple of things that do bug me at the moment. As I said, that bugs. As I said, I don't know whether it's just me, but the bug seems to be that the movie map display is not loading, and the fact that the GPS seems to be removed from all the basic aircraft. That's good and bad, because it means that yes, I kind of get it, that makes sense, but at the same time it makes navigating really a real challenge. So seat of the pants stuff, it really is. Or using third-party programs like Little Navman or FS Flight Control or something like that is of course a possibility as well. The other thing that sort of frustrates me a little, which you probably saw when we were having a wander look around the outside here, is that. So I'm flying in Australia, and I don't know if you noticed, but when we were taxiing, you saw the aircraft beside us. The AI one had an Australian registration, which is Victor Hotel. Yet the aircraft that I'm flying, is an American NREG, and like a previous flight I did for this little before filming here, I did a ferry flight with a PA-28, and it had a UK registration. So that's a little frustrating and a little annoying that's still there, and that kind of breaks things a little bit. But as I said, this is this is a beta. Remember, we are beta testing this, so this is the kind of stuff. And of course, the place to let Dovetail know the feedback about that, of course, is on the forums as well. I'm going to just wind the mixture back there. But yeah, as I said, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's pretty good. I like the premise of it, and the fact that looks like it's just trying to integrate a lot more stuff into this as well, which is really kind of cool. So there you go. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with this flight. We're going to save you that, because I'm going to get to hand fly this, because no autopilot in a Cub. So I'm going to be hand flying this all the way through. But we shall rejoin this video as I'm coming into land, because there is going to be a couple of things to show off when we get to airports as well, to the airport, to actually show you how you finish one of these jobs that you get in career mode. So we shall see you in the very near future. We're just starting to come in here on our final into Armidale Airport. A long final here. But yes, so as I was saying before, it's kind of cool. I like the fact that you get to fly to places that you wouldn't expect to fly otherwise, and it's all very much in early days at the moment, and there's little bugs here and there, things to report, but still overall, I'm still enjoying it so far. And you get to go out to some interesting places, and even some interesting challenges, like trying to navigate to Armidale, by the seat of your pants kind of stuff. That's interesting. With the some very bare sort of instrumentation kind of thing. So. A little high on the glide slope. But yeah, I do want to show you once you get on the ground, because once you get on the ground, you do have to actually sort of park your aircraft and then shut it down in order to be able to actually complete the job, as it were. So we'll see that once we get safely on the ground. I'm going to do a bit of a long landing here. I have a funny feeling I know where I'm going to need to park. Yeah, Cubs are just, they're so majestic. They really are. Love them sometimes. Okay, coming in. Gentle on the touchdown. Now, as we've sort of slowed and almost come to a stop, you'll notice that little green markers just popped up over there. So that's basically where you need to go to actually finish the mission. So, in order to finish the jobs, once you've chosen the job, you said the start is a cold and dark star, and then you fly to your destination. And then once you get there, you then need to park and shut down. Now, so far, you don't need to follow any checklists for shutting down at the moment. All you need to do is just the engine just needs to be shut down. So essentially, cut the fuel flow, and you'll be able to successfully complete the job. So we're going to taxi over and do that. Now, a couple of interesting things that I have learnt in the while doing some test flights before filming this video today is that for airports like this one, which are uncontrolled, no ATC or anything like that, you'll just get given, you can just navigate your way to wherever the parking spot is to do. So yeah, wherever it shows you will be a parking spot from the AFCAD file. So what a couple of every now and again you end up at the fuel because it's the only sort of parking spot there. The other thing though I have noticed though is if you do end up being sent to a controlled airport, so an airport that actually has sort of ground traffic and things like that, where it actually will assign you where you need to taxi and assign you a gate or a parking spot. The parking spot that it assigns you will not necessarily match the one that the mission requires you to park at. So just bear that in mind and just essentially navigate your way around the airfield to be able to park yourself at the green markers. So we're just going to taxi ourselves down here at Armadale. We're going to park up on the grass here next to this green one here. Handy little GoPro recording all of this stuff, of course. Taxiing up here. Right. There. Parking brakes on, and as I said, pretty much just shut the fuel flow down, and there we are. That's the mission complete. So, job completed. Yes, we've done it. No worries. Well, you get your payment, as you can see there. So it sort of gives you the ticks your objective. Yes, you've reached your airport that you need to go to. The payment that you got, any expenses that you incur during the job. Some jobs will incur expenses, some won't. You get your payments, and that all goes into your balance there. So that's pretty cool, pretty interesting. As I said, not bad. I kind of like the way that they're doing it. There you go. And then to wrap it up, you simply click continue. And then that will take you back to the front desk Port Macquarie. So you don't have to fly yourself back to Port Macquarie. I wonder if that may be becoming a thing later on. But as I said, I kind of like the fact that they've taken some of the things. As if for those who remember the days of Microsoft Flight, you remember seeing these job boards at all the airports, and I really like how they've done that. I really like how they've sort of channeled that and actually it gives you something a little bit different to do all the time. You don't have to do it all the time, but it's something different to do. I do want to reiterate though, as I said before, that I know that it may look a little bit scary when you see that all your normal stuff of Flight Sim World disappears when you switch to career mode. But don't worry, it is, as I said, you can switch the career mode on and off. You don't lose your progress. The file is still there. It just reloads it, refreshes it. It's in your app data folder. It'll just grab it once you re-enable the beta to switch to career mode. So, kind of cool, kind of interesting, great way to switch stuff around. So there you go. Alright, well, folks, that does wrap up my initial little look at the career mode beta that is currently in testing for Flight Sim World. Don't forget that I have put the code in the description down below if you didn't get it in the email from Dovetail or didn't grab it off the FS Elite site. And said, I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what your thoughts on the career mode for Flight Sim World and any experiences you've had in such things in other simulators. There you go. Alright folks, well, thank you very much for joining me. Don't forget, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, you can catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NovaWing24. Alright folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.